You've worked hard on your roadmap, and you're proud of it. You've listened to your users, and you've brought in engineering and UX to help with the discovery. You and the team have come up with some brilliant ideas for how to make the product better. This is going to be great, right? Well, maybe not, because it's entirely likely that in doing all of those things, and most of those things are exactly the right things, you can still be making your product better, but it's very likely you're also making your product less valuable. Let me explain. Today's topic is a pretty big one because it touches on one of the most fundamental parts of product management, driving continuously increasing value into your product. Intuition will probably tell you that if you're listening to your users and trying to do the things that satisfy the largest cross-section of your user base, you're probably on the right track, and most companies indeed do exactly this. But here's a problem. That only really works in the B2C world. And even then, really only sometimes. In the B2B world, however, if you've over-rotated and are listening to users and not buyers, you will almost certainly be making your product less valuable over time, even as the user experience gets better. Buyers, whether it's in B2B or B2C, are buying your software to make problems go away. If you aren't able to solve new and different problems, and you aren't creating step change improvements in the effectiveness with which you solve existing problems, well, your software isn't more valuable to the people who are ultimately writing the checks. This demographic wants breadth. They want you to solve more things. Users, on the other hand, generally want depth. They typically want the software to do the best job it can at what it does. Very naturally. They want features to do more than just get a tick in the box. They want them to be good. If they are going to spend meaningful amounts of their time using your software, they want that experience to be as positive and productive as possible. And they should, but they want you to solve things better. So this disparity is the reason why so many companies struggle to articulate the value of their product. They speak in terms of usability, user efficiency, and so on, because so much of what gets added to the product doesn't actually make the value of the product higher. It just makes it better. Those changes often are trivial or potentially even meaningless to an economic buyer, and it is that person who's responsible for making the business case the justification for the purchase of your software. Now, does all of that mean that you should ignore your users entirely and only focus on the buyers? Well, of course not. A healthy roadmap is going to have elements of growing the value of the software. That's going to be growth for your business, but also increasing the quality. And by quality, I'm not really speaking about bugs. I'm talking about how good the software is at its job for the purposes of increasing stickiness and retention and user happiness. It's a balancing act. Tipping the balance too far in either direction will result in diminished results. Either you will have unhappy users or stagnating sales. So welcome, dear product management professionals, to the crux of the challenge of our roles, serving the interests of buyers, users, and our own company. And in the end, there are only 3 reasons why anybody builds software. It's true, there's only 3. 1, you are building capabilities that will expand your sales opportunities and grant you market share. In other words, you're trying to drive new business. As we said before, this is breadth. If you are improving capabilities that are already there to make the user experience more compelling, you're probably doing that really for CSAT, retention, stickiness, user happiness, and so on. You guessed it, this is depth. There's a third type of investment that you make, a little less common, but sooner or later, all products will have some of this. You are investing in the product in order to bring your own costs down or achieve some other benefit that isn't really of import to either buyers or users, but is of import to your business. An example could be you're changing platforms to drive down operational SaaS costs. Another could be building in third-party technologies that will make it cheaper and more efficient for you to build future software, and so forth. Now, I'd invite you to take a look at your existing roadmap through a different lens. Don't look at it in terms of the features and the capabilities and how many users are signed up for it. Look at everything that's in there and try to determine for each investment which of the 3 outcomes that I just mentioned is it trying to drive. Growth, CSAT and retention, or some sort of operational benefit for your business. At the end of the exercise, you will see if you are heavily weighted in one direction or another. I've done this exercise with a number of different companies over the years, and most have found that they simply don't have much in the roadmaps that correspond to number one, building market share. And if you aren't building capabilities that will expand sales opportunities and increase your market share, you will eventually stagnate. You'll have a very happy existing user base, but it won't be a growing user base. Now, if this is a problem you have, there's some good news here because it really isn't that hard to solve, at least academically. The answer needs to be found in the roadmap. You need to create space for improvements to your software that either justifies a price increase to your product because you solve more problems, or you solve problems meaningfully and quantifiably better, or those features could be purchased as an add-on. And you will have done your homework, of course, as good product managers to make sure that it is an add-on that indeed a portion of your customer base and the broader market will want to purchase from you. Understanding what types of features and capabilities would qualify requires exercising some muscles that many organizations don't flex very often, which is putting product professionals in front of buyers to help understand the nature of their problems and what things are keeping them up at night, and which problems are significant enough that a buyer would consider paying to make them go away. Future videos will go into much more detail into how to actually go through that process and how to interview a buyer and how to uncover some of these perhaps undocumented needs that buyers have that become really valuable business opportunities for your product and your company. Also, stay tuned for a future video series on how to roadmap like a pro. And we'll be taking some of these principles that I talked about today and many, many more, and we'll show you how to build and communicate a cohesive product strategy. We'll get you to the point where you can ace any business conversation you need to have around your strategy and roadmap, whether it is with marketing and sales, the executive team, the board of directors, the engineering organization. Doesn't matter. We'll get you through it. So with that, I'm going to thank you for watching, and I hope you found some of this content interesting and useful. Whether you did or you didn't, please do leave a comment and let me know what worked or what didn't work for you. And my goal is to keep improving this content as we go, and your feedback will help me achieve that. Also, as always, please consider supporting the channel by doing the like, subscribe, and notification 3-step. Those little things actually help a channel more than you probably realize. From there, please just sit back and relax, and you can expect to see new content Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So with that, thanks again, everyone, and I hope to see you in the next one.